अमीहि त्वां सुरसङ्घा विशन्ति केचिद्भीता प्राञ्जलयो गृह्णन्ति स्वस्तीत्युक्त्वा महर्षि सिद्धसङ्घाः स्तुवन्ति त्वां स्तुतिभिः पुष्कलाभिः अमीहि त्वां सुरसङ्घा विशन्ति केचिद्भीता प्राञ्जलयो गृह्णन्ति स्वस्तीत्युक्त्वा महर्षि सिद्धसङ्घाः स्तुवन्ति त्वां स्तुतिभिः पुष्कलाभिः. Looks like the translation is incomplete, ma. So the entire translation verily into you enter these hosts of gods. Some in fright extol you with joined palms. May it be well. Let me maybe write it out for you all. There you go. Verily into you enter these hosts of gods. Some in fright extol you with joined palms. Others praise you with beautiful hymns. Swasti, may it be well. Maharshi Siddha Sanghaha, the hosts of Maharshi and the Siddhas, the perfected ones, the great sages. So what we must understand from this verse is one type of people are fearing the Lord, fearing the form of the Vishwarupa. Another type of people, other lot of people are actually praising the Lord. So what we must understand is the spiritually devolved people, they fear the higher, they fear the godmen, they fear God. Why do people visit temples? Why do they perform rituals? Why do they get into spiritual practices? Out of fear that something might happen to them. So if there is an element of fear, the implication is that you are on the wrong side. You have to fear because you are spiritually devolved. Whereas when you're spiritually evolved, there is nothing to fear. In the subsequent verses, we'll see what are the causes of fear. But one who is perverted, who fears the Lord, one who is perfected would praise the Lord. So the Siddhas and the sages are praising the Lord with beautiful hymns. All this Arjuna is seeing. So one lot of people are trembling with fear. Some in fright extol with joy and palms. Others are praising you. So it is actually the reality of the world today. So when you don't perform your obligatory duties, when you don't do your dharma, when you don't do your karma, that is when you fear the higher. But one who performs his obligatory duties, one who does his dharma, one who is true to his nature, he has nothing to fear. This is, we derive it from the implication, so we draw it philosophically. So the philosophical implication is when you are wrong, that is when you fear the higher and you see a disparity. But when you are not on the wrong side, means when you're true to your conscience, there is no disparity. Even though I may be devolved, means I may not be as highly spiritually evolved. See, we are making 2 points. Let me be clear, there shouldn't be any confusion. First point is the spiritually devolved people will fear the Lord. The spiritually evolved people will praise the Lord. That's point 1. The second point we're saying is one who is true to his conscience, he will not fear the Lord. He will not fear the higher. One who is not true to his conscience will fear the higher. Even in a relative sense, I may be working as a manager or a deputy manager in an organization. But if I'm working with integrity, if I'm true to my work, true to my conscience, and if I have been performing my duties, I don't have to fear the authorities. I don't have to fear an inspection going on. I don't have to fear an internal audit or an audit because I have not done anything wrong. There's nothing to fear. There's nothing to fear authority. There is no even though there may be a hierarchical disparity between me and the authority, but there's nothing to fear. I'm giving an example for the second interpretation. But if I have done something wrong, if I have not upheld my integrity in my work, if I have not been truthful, the moment I know that there is an audit going to happen, the moment I know that there is going to be a vigilance week going on or some supervision is going to happen, instantly the fear sets into me. Why? It's not because of disparity, it's because of I have not been true to my conscience. So these are the things which we can derive when he says one lot of people are praising, other lot of people are fearful. Now we took the example of Prahalada last week. When the Lord Hiranyakashipu, when the Lord Narsimha, when Lord Narsimha comes out of that pillar in that ferocious form of a human form with a lion head, in all his ferocity, everybody were trembling because everybody were Rakshasas. Whereas the same Prahalada, the little boy, was so charmed by the exalted personality. He was full of joy for having seen his Lord giving darshan to him. He was full of excitement. How is it that one is terrified, another one is praising? Because they're divine or demoniac. So you follow the rules. Shivaji, don't break the rules, huh? Appadida. You follow the rules, nothing to fear. True. So we can relate it to it in our own daily lives. They are putting it in a philosophical way. We'll take 22, please. Rudraditya vasavo ye cha sadhya Vishveshvinau marutaschoshmapascha Gandharva yaksha sura siddha sanghaha Vikshante tvam vismitaschaiva sarve Rudraditya vasavo ye cha sadhya Vishveshvinau marutaschoshmapascha Gandharva yaksha sura siddha sanghaha Vikshante tvam vismitaschaiva sarve. You know what I feel when I chant this mantra or this verse? I feel the presence of my tongue. It is literally a tongue twister. So Rudraditya vasavo yecha sadhya vishveshvirau marutaschoshma pascha. Yenadu. Gandharva yaksha surasiddha sangha vikshante tvam vismitaschaiva sarve. So he's enumerating all those people who were quite astonished seeing the form of the Lord. Who were they? The Rudraditya, the Rudras and the Adityas, the Vasus and the Sadhyas, Vishwadevas and the Ashwins, Marut, Ushmapas, and the hosts of Gandharvas, Yakshas and Asuras and Siddhas. All those people were quite astonished seeing the Lord's mighty form. Harish, I'm wondering why is it none of them are familiar with? Correct, Harish? Do you know any of them?
Guruji, you're absolutely right. I was thinking exactly that, and you got me like telepathy. You got me. I don't know how you knew this, Guruji.
No, it is not difficult. None of them know. I just took your name. Ask anybody. Ask Shivaji. Does he know anybody? He also doesn't know. Ask Ashama Senior, Ashama Junior. They would not know. Nobody would know. But I just thought there's a fair chance I would not go wrong with you, Harish. I know little. I know you little more than than I know perhaps others. Now, it's just they are all famous celebrities of that era. That's all you may think of. Now, who are the Rudras? The Rudras are said to be the gods of destruction. So, the Rudras refer to the gods of destruction. Adityas refer to the gods of light. You can actually know further. I'm just giving you the highlights of who they are, because they are they're all the gods and the goddesses, all the gods of manifestation, the gods of power. So 8 Vasus refers to the inferior gods or the demigods, who are the gods of elements. Like Dhara refers to the god of earth, Dhruva, the pole star, Soma, the moon, Apa, water, Anila, the wind, Anala, fire, Pratyusha, dawn, and Prabhasha is lustre or luster. Hi, Soloma. Pritima, please correct me. How do I pronounce luster or luster? I was very comfortable. There was no fear till now. The moment you have come in the classroom, there's fear. Please clarify why is I suddenly feel insecure in the classroom, in your presence, in thy presence.
I think you're only pretending to be fearful. You're never fearful.
Oh my God. So you tell now I'm openly lying also. Ayyo. Enama, what is this?
Playing a game.
Ayyo. I am not playing any game. I'm being true to myself. Achha, I'm asking you, do you pronounce it luster or luster?
Luster.
Luster. Huh? See, I was instant fear. Instantly, moment I know you were there, I clarified, you see. But can you please, I'm being true, ma'am, but why do I feel a little insecure when you're there?
I think you don't feel insecure. A person like you cannot feel insecure.
Oh, thanks for the confidence, man. Now I'll speak even false with conviction now.
Yes.
So these are the various demigods, the gods of elements, the 8 Vasus. The Sadhyas refers to the 12 celestials born of Sadhya, the consort of Dharma. Vishwadevas are the 10 celestials born of Vishwa. The 2 Ashwins, the physicians of gods. Even gods had physicians. They also fell sick at times, so they also need to go to a doctor, no? So the 2 Ashwins were the physicians of gods. Maruts, the 49 wind gods. Ushmapas, the 7 ancestors who accept food when we offer during the Shraddha ceremony. Gandharvas, the celestial musicians and the singers. I'm giving descriptions of who they are. The Yakshas are the beneficial demons. I don't know how can a demon be beneficial. And the king of the Yakshas is Kubera. Who is Kubera? The Lord of Wealth. Ah, that is very important. Kubera should be there in life, no? Adillama eppadi? Enna Shivaji? Kubera illana eppadi nadakka mudiyum? Onnum nadakka mudiyadhu illaya? So, adda they'll say he is a benevolent Rakshasa. A demon, na? Kubera is a demon. So why do you call wealth as demon? Yana, artham anartham, sir. If you are not careful, wealth can destroy you. Adakaga they say, that's the reason they say wealth is a calamity. So got to be careful with wealth.
He become the demon.
Oh, you become the demon because the demon has got into you. It enters the head, becomes demon, isn't it? So the Yakshas, the Gandharvas, Asuras, these are the actual demons. Siddhas. Siddhas are those who have the siddhis, which are supernatural powers. So what you may go into the detail it's a matter of significance. If you want to know what they are only symbolic. Don't take them literally, please. But what you must understand is all of them were astonished seeing the Lord's form. They were all held aghast. Oh my God, what is this I'm looking at? That kind of a feeling got into all these people. 23. Rupam mahatte bahuvatra netram Mahabaho bahubahurupadam Bahudaram bahudam strakaralam Drishtva lokah pravyatithasthathaham Rupam mahatte bahuvatra netram Mahabaho bahubahurupadam Bahudaram bahudam strakaralam Drishtva loka pravyatithasthathaham. Having seen your immeasurable form with many mouths and eyes, Bahuvaktra netram, with many mouths and eyes, O Mahabaho. Here, usually Mahabaho is a term which Lord Krishna addresses Arjuna with. Now here, Arjuna reverses it. Arjuna is calling the Lord as O Mahabaho. O mighty armed, with many arms, mighty arm with many arms, Bahubahurupadam, with many arms, thighs and feet, Bahudaram, with many stomachs, Bahudamstrakaralam, with many terrible tusks. The worlds are terrified, so am I. The world refers to all those mentioned in the previous verse. The Vasus, the Adityas, the Rudras, the Sadhyas, the Vishwadevas, Ashwins, Maruts, Ushmapas, Gandharvas, Yakshas, etc. All those are terrified. So am I. So the 23rd verse, he gives whom do you fear in life? There's a slight difference in the 23rd and the 24th verse. The 23rd verse gives whom do you fear? The 24th verse gives who are the ones who are afraid of? 23 gives whom do you fear in life? 24 gives who are the ones who are afraid? So whom do we fear in life? One who is honest, one who is straightforward, one who is disciplined, one who is upright, principled, a wise man, an unselfish person. One would be afraid of such a person. Now, who are the ones who are afraid? Those who are not of this cadre. So the dishonest, those who are crooked, indisciplined. What is the opposite of principle? And the Gayatri Ma, what is the opposite of principled?
The nearest can be manipulative.
Oh, I thought unprincipled. அது மாதிரி இருக்கா Pritima? Is there a word unprincipled? In principle, is it there?
I think it's there. Or lawless. Unprincipled or lawless.
Or lawless. So there is a word unprincipled. So one who is unprincipled, lawless, the unwise, foolish, the selfish. They fear the opposite cadre. Now here, what we have established is fear sets in. When there is fear or insecurity, the sign of it implies there's something wrong within me. It's not an emotion that everybody experiences. The fear or insecurity is not an emotion which everybody has to experience. But I want to know the reasons why fear or insecurity arises. Everybody, to a large extent, experiences this fear, but not as a compulsion. Huh? But the question is, what are the reasons one experiences fear or insecurity? AJ. AJ is Asha Junior. AS is Asha Senior.
So, with I was taken aback for a minute, Guruji. I'm like wondering who AJ is.
No, I was guessing these people will guess to whom to unmute. Otherwise, they will be, then I'll get a scolding after that. Whom do you want me to unmute?
So,
Yes.
with respect to your question, so if I just try to understand in my perspective, I have this fear of speaking in this group because knowledgeable people, um, I feel sometimes I'm nowhere near it. So probably there is that. I mean, I might not be making sense, or I'm not understanding things, and there are people who can relate to what you are saying, or maybe give answers, or they understand, and yeah, that makes me a little bit scared to sometimes to maybe ask questions. Yes. So probably having less knowledge could make a person fearful, or maybe thinking that you're not in par with others, so you would think twice before making a statement. Yeah, that could make somebody fearful. So I've just given my one. There are many other reasons, but yeah.
In fact, by saying so, but I must assure you, there is no need to fear, please. We're on the same boat, same journey, don't hold back. If there's something to clarify, feel free. But in your expressing your feelings, you've actually given the first point, or one of the points is ignorance. You may feel you may be ignorant of a particular idea or concept, or in a particular field. So there is a certain fear. So ignorance is one of the reasons fear arises. Example, you are walking into an unknown space, and that space is in total darkness. There is a certain fear. I hope there's nothing lurking. I hope there is no, I don't know, a snake or scorpion or something there. Something you are fearful of, because you don't know what might be there. That causes fear, ignorance of it. Or you go to an unknown place. You don't know what kind of people they are. There is a fear of your own security. So ignorance is one of the reasons. Right? Agree with you? Jama is saying fear arises when you go against your conscience. Indeed, Annapurnam also says the same thing, not conforming to the rules or the authority. One is indisciplined, there is fear. Yes, Pritima. I will give you less work.
When you feel that you will fall short of somebody's expectations of you, that your performance may not meet somebody else's expectations. And also when you have the sense of doership, that I'm the one who's doing everything, taking care of everything. And when you do not surrender to a higher power, that you're not the person who's doing everything. You just have to do your bit and leave the rest. Do the best you can and leave the rest. So two things.
But if I can come to the first point, could you repeat, Ma? What's the first point you said?
The point is, when you feel you will fall short of somebody else's expectations of you, it could be as simple as preparing a meal, that the meal that you prepare may not meet somebody else's expectations of how a meal should be.
I'm lost for words there. I don't know what to say.
Have I said something amiss?
No, no. The example seals it, so I really can't comment there.
If I may add there, sir.
I was waiting, sir.
Well, I can only talk about myself. There's always this fear of loss, fear of things not going the way you want them to go. At some level, everything is ignorance, no denying. But these are the constant fears which I think most human beings go through, of fear of loss, loss of anything. It could be wealth, health, whatever. A fear of things not going the way you think they should go, again, connected to anything. And also, here I'd like to ask a question. Are there what one can call legitimate fears and irrational fears? Rational fears and irrational fears. Because, for example, my own example, 2 days ago, I was stuck in a slightly remote place in Hyderabad around 10 in the night, waiting for my lift. And I never felt insecure in Hyderabad normally, but that day I did feel a bit insecure. Is that based on ignorance, or is it a very legitimate, rational fear based on circumstance? I'm done, sir.
I'm clean bowled, sir. Waiting for next batsman to come and take the crease, sir. So, do I take the point you said or take the question, sir?
Whichever first. I leave it to you.
Sir, one of the points which is the cause of fear is selfishness or attachment. It could be fear of losing your wealth. If I'm attached to my wealth, there's a fear of losing it. If I'm attached to my child, I have a fear that something might happen to my child. There could be, you heard that children nowadays are not safe. Example, they could have heard something out in the media happening, but there's no reason to suspect that it'll happen to your child. But what makes that fear multiply in disproportionate way, it starts bothering you, is your attachment to your child. So there is constant anxiety. Has your driver supposed to pick you up? Has he reached there on time? Has he received your daughter? Is the child safe in the car? No, there is that constant anxiety. So if you go with that example, it is certainly self-created. There's no need to unduly fear, but that fear arises because of one's attachment to the daughter, to the child. Example. So fear arises, fear of losing something you have. And whatever one has acquired in life, whether it be tangible or intangible, there is an unseen attachment that is associated with the object of acquisition. Whether tangible or intangible, I could have acquired some reputation. I could have acquired some knowledge. So people may agree to it, may not agree to it. So there is a fear that I may not be accepted, I may not be respected, I may not be regarded. So that kind of a fear may exist. And that's because of my attachment I've developed to that object of acquisition. Right, sir?
Yes.
So this is very much with reference to one's degree of selfishness. And since that selfishness or attachment exists in degrees in all of us, varying to different objects, so that manifests differently. So it's for us to find out when there is a fear arising. You need to rationalize that fear, because you rightly said, if there is a rational process, the fear may not exist, may not persist. When you start questioning the fear, I don't see a reason for you to start suspecting. Because on the contrary, one who is relatively detached, in him there is no fear. He's quite secure. He's very peaceful. His mind is at rest. This is a natural consequence of being unselfish or being detached. Because an unselfish person doesn't develop that possessive attitude. When you don't get possessive, what is there to lose? I don't arrogate it as I or mine. So there is no undue fear which arises in a selfish person that may not arise in an unselfish person because he's relatively detached. What will happen to my child? Nothing will happen. The God has taken care of every other creature on earth except my child. What makes you believe that God will not take care of my child or my belonging? So that kind of, again, that fear is personalized. Now, to the point you're making, sir, that you felt insecure in your own city, where you lived for X number of years, but then you feel insecure, is because, again, it's an unknown area. You couldn't relate a sense of an awareness to something which you are very familiar with. It's an unfamiliar territory. So it's ignorance, I would say. But you said, is it a rational fear or irrational fear? Is that the terms you used?
Yes.
So you say, is it legitimate to feel the fear?
Yes. Michael?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, sir. Yes.
But is it not possible that you could be there waiting for your transport without fearing? There's nothing to fear. It's not that there's any impending danger or any potential danger there. You may be in a safe place, or you may be quite protected. It's just a matter of there's a delay in your transport arriving. So does that justify that it could be unnecessary fear?
No, that's not how it happened. I was waiting for Uber, and in the meantime, a couple of to me they seemed shady. Came on a motorcycle and tried
It's
to make.
nighttime,
It
no?
was nighttime, 10 o'clock. They tried to make a conversation, tried to sell me something. Then I walked away from it. So that triggered off. I wouldn't say fear, but certainly a bit of anxiety that I'm in the wrong spot.
Right.
I'm in the wrong.
Right.
I should move away from here.
Yeah. So that way it justifies. Perhaps you need to be more careful.
Yes.
It's like in certain places, our stay in Malaysia, we're very much aware in that part of the region. There were many cases, cases resulting in fatality. Especially the Hindu Indian ladies used to be targeted. They knew that Indian ladies would wear the Mangal Sutra. And we would find a lot of these Indonesians, or the lower class, even the lower class of the Malay community, the people, uneducated people, they used to come on bikes and they would snatch the Mangal Sutra. And it is very natural when somebody or something is being pulled, or they grab your handbags, you try to hold on to it. And it has had many cases where their throat was slit because of the sheer pressure with which that chain was being snatched, and trying to defend and it caused serious accidents, fatality also. Now, whenever we used to go out, as a thumb rule, the lady would not be putting her handbag onto the side of the road. It always would be towards a footpath, the other side. And if I am walking, the lady would not be walking on the roadside. I will be walking onto the roadside. The lady or the child will be on the other side of the road, inside part of the road, towards away from the roadside. So this was a conscious awareness you're operating with. Like, you wouldn't want to give lift to any strangers. There's no need to be smart and then get in trouble. You got to be careful. So that way you can justify it, sir. But that's different to a self-created fear arising out of attachment.
So the point, in fact, the underlying point I was trying to make is that you're absolutely right when you say attachment leads to fear. In this case, it's attachment to one's own body. And the fear of death, a fear of injury, a fear of loss of the body, whatever. So that is the ultimate fear one has to get rid of. Attachment to body goes, everything goes with it, I hope. So I think, but to the extent that one is still an individual creature, which is focused on self-preservation, this fear will not leave us.
Sir, you're talking from very high level, sir.
No, not at all.
From an absolute standpoint, yes, very much, So does it clarify, sir?
Yes.
Indeed, right. Thank you. Thank you, Ji. Samyama has shared a beautiful message to me. A newly married girl will have fear when she's going to in-laws' house because she's moving into a new environment. Don't know what kind of expectations, don't know. I was living in the comfort of my own parents and living in being pampered and provided and taken care of, and moving into an unknown area. Very good example, Samyama. So that can be taken. So fear arises because of ignorance. Fear arises because of your selfishness. Fear arises because of one's destructive attitude or destructive nature. Anyone who is constructive means working for the hitam or the welfare of others, there's nothing to fear. But anyone who is destructive, who is extremely concerned of his own well-being, even if it means at the cost of others, you destroy others and you protect your own well-being, such people have extreme fear. Example, when you know that the company is sacking X number of employees, who are the people who will feel very secure? Prakash Ragaru. X number of employees are going to be sacked from the company. Who do you think will be secure? Who do you think will be insecure? So we can't hear you, sir, please.
He may be the next. Everybody will be fearing.
Sorry, could you come again, sir?
Everybody will be fearing because he'll think that he may be the next.
That's true. They have not disclosed who are the people. But who would be the people who will be feeling insecure?
One who is guilty.
Means?
One who is not following the discipline of the company.
One who is not following means one who is not true to his work.
Yes.
One who is a liability vis-a-vis one who is an asset. The moment one is a liability to organization, he feels insecure, isn't it? And
Yes.
who are the liability? As comments came in, one who is not a conscientious worker, one who does not devote it to his work. He knows whether he's giving his 100%, whether he's being true to his job. But one who is an asset, he knows that he's giving his best. For him, there's nothing to fear. There's no fear at all. So the fear arises out of ignorance, out of selfishness, out of destructive nature. Fear also arises out of not being able to meet in others' expectations. Again, Pritima, when you said that you're not able to cater to or fit into others' expectations, again, it's one's own egoistic perspective, isn't it? When you do your job with a sense of pride or satisfaction, you find that satisfaction in the work. Doesn't matter whether a person may appreciate your work or not, but you're being true to yourself. You don't have to dance to cater to others' emotions or expectations. But when you're true to yourself, let the work speak for itself. It may not satisfy their palate, but you have done your best. There's no need to feel. That's the counter to that point. But yes, you may be right, because you may not be able to cater to their expectation. Again, is an egoistic perspective. And lastly, we can say the reason one feels fear because of otherness. I think Hariji mentioned. Otherness also is the reason why one feels fear. Lack of identification. So the verse is saying the whole world is trembling. Yes. You also got it. What do you mean the whole world is trembling?
Guruji, no one is perfect. Probably that's why they're lacking in something on some area or the other.
The implication is that there's lack of honesty in everybody to some extent, some degree or other.
To some
Therefore, some degree. None of us are perfect. So to that extent, there is that element of fear in everybody. So the whole world is trembling. The whole world is terrified.
Yeah. Shall I add something to it?
Waiting for it.
मैं रोज गुनाह करता हूँ. I commit sins every day. मैं रोज गुनाह करता हूँ. वो रोज बख्श देता है. He forgives every day. मैं आदत से मजबूर हूँ. वो रहमत से मशहूर है. I am bound by my habits. I commit sins every day. He forgives all my sins. He is known for his rahmat, his blessings and his magnanimity.
फिर से बोलिए. So beautiful it is.
मैं रोज गुनाह करता हूँ. वो रोज बख्श देता है. मैं आदत से मजबूर हूँ. वो रहमत से मशहूर है.
क्या बोलते हैं?
वो तो whatever, I mean, you commit sins out of habit, out of whatever, due to any reason. Whatever you do, you're not perfect. But he is magnanimous. He is like, he only knows that he has to bless you. He never punishes you. It's your own karmas that will punish you. He does not punish you. वो अपनी रहमत से मशहूर है. वो रोज बख्श देता है, रोज forgive करता है.
You know, I think I get you. The message is so clear, but you know, when you translate it, the charm of that is lost. So, आप translate करने की जरूरत नहीं. But at least for those who can't grasp the Sanskrit or the Urdu beautiful words, you know, there it is. Beautiful, beautiful. As I told you, don't forget all these. Please capture.
Sure. Yeah, I will.
Right. Thank you, Ma. So there's a hidden message when he says all this. Okay. 24, please. Nabha sprusham deeptamanekavarnam Vyantananam deepta vishalanetram Drishtva hi tvam pravyathitantaratma Dhrutim na vindami shamam cha Vishnu Nabha sprusham deeptamanekavaktram Varnam, sorry. Vyantananam deepta vishalanetram Drishtva hi tvam pravyathitantaratma Dhrutim na vindami shamam cha Vishnu Nabha sprusham deeptam aneka varnam. Aneka varnam means you're shining in very many colors, flaming in many colors. Seeing you from seeing your form. Or what is just double check ma lame. On seeing your form, touching the sky, flaming in many colors, with mouths wide open, with large fiery eyes. I am terrified and I find no courage or peace, O Vishnu. Dhritim, I have no courage, na shamam, na peace. There's greater philosophy in we relating these concepts to our life than what Arjuna is experiencing or what he's talking. So what we need to understand is when one is selfish, when you are selfish and self-centered, you have neither dhritim na shamam. There is neither courage nor peace in one's life. Means in effect, you feel very insecure. But those who are insecure, they don't attribute their insecurity to their selfishness. They attribute it to external factors. This is where you and I have to learn from the verse. Like in the verse, he is attributing it to the form which is touching the sky. He's talking of your large shining eyes with your mouth wide open. He's talking of the awful form. But it is not that awful form that is responsible for the fear. Because in the previous couple of verses we learned, some of them are actually praising that very same form. So the fear is not because of external factors. The fear is arising out of your own selfishness. You know, in my first few classes I was taking in Hyderabad, in 96, 97, I even remember the classroom where I was taking this class. And there was two ladies walked in. First time and the last time they came. And I know they didn't come because of my answer. One of the lady asked this question. She said, "Sir, I feel very insecure in my life." And I gave a very upright answer. You know, Gayatri, what I have told to her? I said, "You must be very selfish by nature." I said, "You are a very selfish person," I told her. And from that day, I never saw her again in my life. It was, truth is very bitter. I explained myself. I quoted this context. I clarified to her, but it's very difficult for one to accept that I am insecure because of my own selfishness. Perhaps I did not have the art of talking those days. I was still learning, warming myself to that art of learning. Not that I can claim much today, but it is very difficult to accept that fear arises because of one's own selfishness. So don't attribute because of external factors as one's own selfishness. Shakespeare, to this point, yes, Ravijaya. No. Yes, sir.
Sir, I fully concede that selfishness leads to a lot of fear. But the only clarification I'd like to seek is, aren't people also conditioned by their own life circumstances and experiences? Because till you're mugged, you may not have no fear of being mugged. The day that happens in future, it will condition you in a certain way. Similarly, there's so many experiences, so many traumas different people go through. And that may not have anything to do with selfishness, except in the sense that I mentioned earlier, that you're afraid of losing your body or your whatever. Apart from that kind of selfishness, I think a lot of people are conditioned by the experiences life throws at them. And so I don't know whether you can call that selfish or not. I'd like your view on that.
Shakespeare, in the play Othello, he says, "He who steals my purse steals trash." His value he gave for his purse, means wealth or valuables, was nothing. So you steal my purse, I don't feel insecure about it. I feel I've lost trash. So the point we need to get is, though our experiences may condition us, but we have a choice to learn from those experiences, no? And we can have the wisdom prevail over those experiences or the lessons learned from that. But just because I have a failure, that doesn't mean there has to be a fear associated with future potential failures. I only become more cautious. But if that failure or a fear of a negative incident is stuck in my head, then I have not grown out of it. Many people don't learn from the past. They don't forge ahead from the past. They tend to live in the past and linger. That causes fear, not the lessons. If you learn lessons from the past, I can become wise today. Imagine if I was mugged, or I had a situation of somebody backstabbing me. I will only be careful in the future that I don't get potentially backstabbed. But I should not fear everybody I'm dealing with. Oh, is this person going to backstab me? Why should I have that suspicious mindset? Then I'll stop interacting with people. If one person backstabbed me because I did not take that precaution, or I did not provide myself enough protection there, that I could be used on that particular ground and backstab me. So I take the precaution every time I have any dealings in future. I'm very well protected. So it's a lesson learned from the past. So is the past, does it make me wiser, or does it make me a victim of my past?
Mic is on.
Yes, my mic is on.
Yeah. No, it so happens sometimes the trauma of the past is so deep. It's gone so deep into your subconscious that you may not be able to come out of it or emerge from it on your own. You may need the help of a therapist, a healer, a guru's
God.
guidance, God's grace, whatever. So I think sometimes it's putting the burden too much on one person to be able to do it on his own or her own. It all depends on the nature of the experience and how repeated a certain kind of violation or experience has been. So people do need external help. Sometimes they may not be able to do it all on their own.
No, I'm not denying that. I agree with you. It's possible that one needs extra help to heal the damage done, to recover, but one could come out strong. I don't have to be a victim of my past.
Absolutely.
One has to.
One has to come out strong. As there's a saying, every saint had a past.
Yes.
Every sinner has a future. So just because I had a bitter past doesn't define me for what I would be in the future. If I continue to live in my past, then I can't, nobody can help me. But the wisdom is so profound. It gives you enough strength and conviction to erase your past and move on into the future. That's what we discussed recently in one of the satsangs of Purushartha or free will, right? We have that capacity to undo whatever we have done and recreate our future. That's what makes us unique, isn't it? Otherwise, we all can be victims of our past. In that sense, there is no necessity that we live in the past fear. But I hope we are clear, Ji, here? Haji, have we clarified, sir?
Yes, sir. In principle, yes.
In principle, I'm only talking in principle. Now it's subjective how each one implements the principle, But it's important, as I'm trying to connect, is selfishness is the cause for that insecurity. An unselfish person, there is no question of feeling insecure, When one is selfish or egoistic, in such a person, as he says, there is no peace, nor is there courage. Now, in the context, you may ask me, sir, Arjuna was known to be a very highly unselfish person. How come Arjuna is terrified about the situation? Why is he so terrified? Because throughout the text, we portrayed Arjuna as a very noble soul who worked for the larger good, etc. But why was he fearful? Perhaps we could only interpret that Arjuna had personalized the battle. He got into the battle from an egoistic perspective. He took it from a selfish angle where he lost his objectivity. Perhaps that's one of the reasons, perhaps he was feeling insecure of what he was doing. His action suffered because he became egoistic and selfish. To the point which Pritima said about getting affected by others, not fitting into others' expectations. When you have no value for what others think for you, where is the question of being affected by it? I have no value. So I am not swayed by others' opinions because I don't give value to them. Yes.
Guruji,
Ama.
there is in Marathi, there is a explanation to this particular point and their view, I can say. Arjuna had always considered Krishna as his friend, as his equal. And now he was realizing, he's seen the real form and he's awed by it. And he's musing to himself, he's talking to himself, and that I always considered him my equal. I used to play with him. I used to, in Marathi they say are ture, I mean they don't, आप नहीं बोलते हैं जैसे हम हिंदी में आप कहते हैं, अब हमसे जो बड़े हैं, जो सीनियर हैं, तो बोले I always joked with him. I sometimes I used to snatch his food from him. I was playful with him. And what will he consider now? I mean, the way of my behavior. So probably that is the fear he has. that he has been disrespectful to Lord Krishna in some way out of ignorance. He didn't
Right.
know. So that is an interpretation in Marathi.
Yes, right. But what is the Marathi saying?
Ji?
Do you have the actual Marathi saying?
No, there's no particular saying. That is this Dhanashri Lele, she explains it in her
Right.
discourse
Got it. Got it.
about this particular chapter, Vishwarup.
Right. Got it. Got it. Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. Yes, Harish.
No, Guruji, I was just wanting to expand on the Preeti ji's statement that when
Mhm.
people go through the experiences of trauma, the experiences leave a very lifelong bitter experience. And I think what happens in this kind of trauma, Guruji, people fall into a shock state when somebody that you trust the most ends up betraying you. The shock is very magnanimous to the mind and heart from where you least expect it. So for the person to heal from that kind of trauma could be a lifelong process to heal. Having said that, I think we're very fortunate, Guruji, that we have the knowledge in this class to come out of all these understandings to heal and better ourselves. But Guruji, a lot of people are stuck in lifelong traumas, and I know people who are not able to heal, who are lingering in the past 40, 50 years ago, and are still stuck over there in fear. I just wanted to share that and add on to Preeti ji's statement when she was speaking about this.
Totally agree, Harish. Appreciate that. Totally agree. Yeah. Thank you. So, to the point, clarification is that when you constantly value, or if you're constantly worried what others would think of you, that would cause an additional burden or anxiety in you. But when you you do what you do, you are what you are, and you don't try to fit yourself into others' expectations, then there is nothing to be worried. There's nothing to be fearful. You're not affected by it. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't lend your ears to what others think. You would be happy to hear what others think. But however, you'll have to come to do what is true to your personality. I must be true to my personality. I can't be what you want me to be. Then you get into a lot of you lost your peace. So again, coming back to the important point is that the fear arises because of your own selfish relationship and attachment to the world. So you will have to come out, shed your own selfish, egoistic relationship with the world to experience peace and courage. As long as you don't transform the character of your action or your personality, you wouldn't be free from the fear. So don't attribute it to anything external. It's only an internal factor. Because the one who lives a life of service and sacrifice, there is no fear, or you wouldn't feel insecure in life. Now, I'm at the end of it, I'm not trying to impress you when I say that. To a large extent in my life, I would say to a great extent in my life, I've never experienced that fear in my life. I was very assured in the most challenging situations of my life, in the most demanding situations in my life. I have never felt insecure. That did not exist in my life. So I'm not trying to impress you. Again, I'm trying to whether you feel that emotion. It's not necessary everybody should feel that, and it's directly related to how self-centered you are, or how much you adopt that spirit of giving or the spirit of sacrifice in your actions. So you should be able to relate. As they say, whenever you come into this classroom, you must put on that hat of introversion. You look at the subject from your life's perspective. See a chapter of your life being enunciated or depicted there. Then you are able to relate your life to the subject. If you read it as a story, it remains as a story. So there's a direct philosophy to our lives. In fact, as we say, it's an objective representation of a subjective phenomenon. So it's everything that's said objectively is actually happening within us. Right. So these few verses we covered today, perhaps harp on one powerful point of why one experiences this fear. So we have analyzed in detail. There's enough food for thought on this concept. In fact, he continues the next few verses. So perhaps when you come back again, you will see that thought continues. We will come back. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Hari Om.